has also failed these people, and that the bulk of the work should, as much as it's okay to, look at the government and say, hey, there should be some legislation and policy direction in this light. But don't you think that the family is at the core of all of this?
Yeah, my last conversation, it's just I didn't want to repeat myself. I was here the month of March during Girl Child Women International period, and that was really what I focused on. I was sharing how that the family, the family centered, the girl child needs to be raised in such a way that she doesn't see herself as a sex tool. She doesn't get to see herself that, oh, when I need money, the only thing I can do is to, sleep around. I feel like the family should really do a lot of mentorship and grooming when it comes to the girl child. I spoke about that, and that's so true. They usually say that, charity begins at home, or begins from home. So yeah, the family and the government, they should work hand in hand. Yeah.
But again, just like you said, that government should be involved in policy direction, legislation. Don't you think that is more like, they would have to actually, bite their nose to spite their face and all of that?
Okay, so that's where you have to make it really cashy and say, oh, instead of just coming with guns and all of that and say, all of you, nobody should come out on the streets, from 9 to whatever, you can put a proposition and say, oh, those of you that want to learn this skill, the government is willing to sponsor you, the government is, we are just an NGO, and we are making our difference in the lives of these girls in our own little way. So imagine if the government and even as a nation, they come together. Look at Dubai. Dubai deported one of our girls back to Nigeria. They saw them on the street. They deported, her and some other people. Because those things don't thrive there. They're not closing their eyes. When they see you outside, they will deport you. But nobody's doing anything. I don't think anybody's really doing anything like that in Nigeria.
No, I as much as I don't, so it doesn't look like, I'm speaking fallacy. But I also think that there's been, I don't have the facts right here, so I'll just leave it at that. But I think that there's some effort, in terms of, government at different levels, different states, trying to arrest all of that. But let me come to another part. Now, you are talking about this category of persons who are on the street, who are prostituting or, using their bodies for sex. What about the other ones that are very fanciful, good-looking, and this transaction is going? How do you intend to reach them? Do you also...
doing this because they need the money. They need the money. Some of them are doing it because they've chosen that lifestyle. But I'm really hoping that with what we have, in the ropes, the plans that we have, that we would eventually get to change their mindset and draw them into a higher kind of life, a different part of life, and tell them that, see, hey, this part of life is not going to take you anywhere. There is something better that you can do with your life than what you're doing right now. So yeah, we have that plan to reach out for them. What we want to do, we want to have like a mentorship program, especially for them. We're not going to put them in the rehab home because these fanciful ones, they have houses, they have, some of them will have cars and all of that. But it's going to be a lot of work, to be honest, right? And it's something we want to really put our feet into and trust God to help us.
So, just before we close the conversation down, I'd like to find out how, the oppression is going on with you at the grassroots level. How would you describe your relationship with government bodies, including law enforcement agencies and their allies? Would you say that you have encountered any sort of obstacle in the course of your work?
Okay. So don't mind me that I'm saying the government, I feel like they're not doing anything. But for some, police are even the ones that even patronize these people. Relationship with the government, privilege of having the First Lady of Ocean State come give a word, although she sent someone, she wasn't